Hey, welcome back to Livin MN Outdoors. I'm Daniel, and thanks for tuning in to this week's fishing report. Just want to remind you guys, if you use any of the resorts or guides mentioned in today's report, please let them know you saw them on Livin MN Outdoors. And with that being said, let's dive right into this week's fishing report. We're going to start up on Leech Lake, and the fall bite is starting to set up to be really good. We'll start off with the walleyes. Still finding the majority of the walleyes in 10 to 16 foot of water on main lake sand flats and sand to mud transitions. Best ways to catch those fish right now is by trolling a spinner with a fat head or a leech if you can still find them. Otherwise, pulling crankbaits in crawfish, perch, or a purple iridescent, such as a Shad Rap number 5 or 7 or a Hottentot, is working really well. Now, some other areas you can find them over in Traders Bay in the sand grass, right out in front of Brindley's Harbor, Acorn Hill Resort, right along that shoreline. There's a ton of that sand grass, and there's starting to be a lot of walleyes pulling up in there chasing big bait balls. Good ways to catch those fish: slip bobbers, pitching jigs with half a crawler or a leech, like I said, if you can find them. And as the fall progresses, switching that up to a shiner or a rainbow will work as well. Now, as far as the perch bite goes, the perch bite is really starting to turn on. Getting a lot of good reports coming from Walker Bay, the Walker Narrows area. Still a lot of those fish hanging out in that 10 to 14 foot of water, but there are some that are starting to push up in shallower. Getting the majority of those with a 1/16 or 1/8 ounce jig tipped with a chunk of a crawler or a fat head. Now, as far as the panfish bite goes, they're still getting a lot of really nice panfish. Boy Bay, Sucker Bay, Steamboat Bay, Shingobi has been really good, getting some really big bluegills, finding some perch mixed in with those panfish. There are some crappie showing up on those deeper weed lines as well. And best ways to catch those is a small jig with a chunk of a crawler, or for the crappies, a jig in a fat head or a minnow style plastic is working well for those also. Now, as far as the muskie bite goes, a lot of those muskies are zoning in on those shallow rock structures on the main lake. Still getting a few out on like the Paris Trench as well, suspended. But your best bet is to fish those shallow rocks right now. Throwing small bucktails, jerk baits, or a topwater is working well for those. Now, coming soon, a sucker minnow bite will start for those muskies. Big bobber, a giant sucker minnow, and it's hard to beat watching one of those big bobbers go down with a muskie on the other end. Now, if you're looking for a place to stay up on Leech Lake, Acorn Hill Resort, they have a beautiful spot over on Traders Bay. They have cabins, a full bar and restaurant, dock slips, rental boats, tons of activities going on at the resort, and they are starting to take reservations for ice fishing season, whether you want to book a cabin or a fish house, a guided perch trip, whatever it might be. When booking a fish house, if you book it before October 1st and mention Livin MN Outdoors, you will receive a 10% discount. So make sure, if you're looking to get up to Leech Lake this coming winter, go ahead, give Kyle a call, book one of his sleeper houses or day houses, book a guide trip, and mention Livin MN Outdoors, and you will be able to save a little bit of money. So if you're looking to get up to Leech Lake this coming weekend or in the future, go ahead and call Kyle from Acorn Hill Resort. Now, if you're looking for a guide up on Leech Lake, we're partnered up with Parker from Davis's Guide Service. Unfortunately, his guide season has ended, but he did say that if you get a hold of him, he can point you in the right direction for another guide. So if you're looking to get up to Leech Lake and want to hire a guide, go ahead and give Parker a call from Davis's Guide Service. All right, moving over to Lake Winnie. The walleye bite on Winnie has been very good the last week or two. The majority of those fish, they're still finding them in that 7 to 13 foot of water. Some of the better structures, Little Stony, Mallard. Third River area. They're catching a bunch in Tamarack Bay as well. Best ways to catch those is by pulling spinners tipped with a fathead. As far as colors of spinners, doesn't really matter as long as they have white on them. The more white, the better. Pull those anywhere from that 1.2 to 1.8 mile per hour. Pull them around the weeds, through the weeds in that 7 to 13 foot of water, and you're going to pick up some really nice walleyes right now. Now, some other ways to catch those fish: trolling crankbaits, Shad Rap number 5 or 7 in purple is working very well. A crawfish color works as well, but that purple is really producing a lot of fish right now. Now, the perch bite out on Winnie has been very strong. It has slowed down just a touch, but I think that was due to some of the weather and the extreme pressure they got this past weekend. But they're catching those perch right up in that same 6 to 12 foot of water mixed in those weeds, getting them mainly on spinners with a fathead, or a chunk of a crawler will work as well. And the perch have been extremely nice as of late. Now, as far as the panfish bite goes, the bluegill bite, they're still catching those in the reeds and up in those shallow weeds, throwing a slip bobber with a chunk of a crawler or a small panfish leech. And then the crappies, they are low light, almost exclusively that first hour or two in the morning or that last hour or two in the evening. Those are the best times to target those crappies. If you fish them during the day, you'd swear they weren't even there. So make sure that you're focusing on those prime times. They're finding those on the reed edges and up in the reeds, mainly in Tamarack Bay, the Inner Bay, Dam Bay. Find a reed patch, and more than likely you're going to be able to catch some nice crappies using a slip bobber and a fathead, or a jig and a fathead. Now, as far as the muskie bite goes out on Winnie, a lot of action over on Tamarack Point. The guys are throwing big glide baits and bucktails. Orange is one of the key colors they are using, so whatever you're throwing, make sure it does have some orange in it. I think they're trying to mimic the look of a perch right now, so anything kind of perchy is going to work for those. Now, another area you can target muskies is the river bar. A lot of guys out there fishing as well. I haven't heard the success rate out there, but if they're out there, I'm sure they're seeing fish on the live scope or having some follows coming up. And then on the north end of the lake, the shallow rocks up there, that is going to get good very soon for muskie. So be paying attention to those rocks. If you get a chance, run over there, maybe scan around and see if you can locate some fish, because that is where they are going to transition here very soon. Now, if you're looking to get up to Lake Winnie and need a place to stay, Chad at the Pines Resort, he has cabins, campsites, seasonal sites, full bar and restaurant, live bait, dock slips, rental boats, anything you need to make your trip a success, he has it. So if you're looking to get up to Lake Winnie this coming weekend or in the future, go ahead and call Chad from the Pines Resort. Now, if you're looking to book a guide up on Lake Winnie, Scott from Zups Guide Service, he is the premier walleye guide up in the area. He does not have a ton of availability left. I think he has 4 or 5 dates. I'll put the dates right down here. If you're looking to get up to Lake Winnie, want to learn how to chase walleyes up there, go ahead, give Scott a call and get something on the books. Now, Scott will also be running his sleeper houses, his wheelhouses out on Lake Winnie this winter. He is starting to take reservations and things are starting to fill up fairly quickly. It sounds like he's going to try and start his season a little bit earlier in December this year. And if you would like to get on a call list and want to book an ice castle one of those earlier weekends, of course, ice dependent, you can get on a list. He'll give you a call. And based on where you're at on that list, you might get a chance to book one of the first rentals of the season. So if you're looking to get up to Lake Winnie this coming weekend or in the winter, go ahead and call Scott from Zups Guide Service. All right, now moving down to Mille Lacs Lake. Same pattern as of the last couple of weeks. Mille Lacs Lake is slowly getting better and better as the summer goes on and into the fall. The walleye bite is starting to pick back up. A couple of key areas that you can find biting walleyes is in that shallow 8 to 12 foot of water. They're finding them on the weed edges or on those shallow rocks. Best ways to catch those fish is with a live scope, unfortunately, but fortunately for the people who have them, throwing a slip bobber and a leech or a jig and a minnow or a half a crawler is working for those. And then you can also find some of those fish out on that rock and gravel structure in that 16 to 24 foot of water. Slip bobbers are working well, but guys are pulling crankbait still using lead core and having some success catching them as well. Now, as far as the perch bite goes out on Mille Lacs Lake, they're still catching plenty of nice perch, finding them in that 20 to 30 foot of water on the edge of the mud or out on the mud flats themselves. A slip bobber with a leech or a chunk of a crawler or a fathead will get some of those big perch to bite. Now, as far as the smallmouth bass bite goes, the smallmouth bass are still biting good, seeing some monster bass being caught right now. Majority of those are in that 10 to 20 foot of water. They're on the rocks. The bigger the rocks, the better. Secluded boulders. Getting those on a drop shot, a Ned rig. If it's calm, you can sometimes get them on a top water, or a spy bait is working as well. Now, as far as the muskie bite goes out on Mille Lacs Lake, starting to actually get a few reports from out there. Hadn't been hearing much throughout the summer. But guys are telling me that if you can get out on those deep basins, those mud flats, some of those rock structures where the tulipies are going to spawn this fall, and you can locate big bait balls, usually there aren't muskies too far behind them. The best way to get those to bite is on a big rubber bait or a big glide bait. Now, if you guys are looking for a guide up on Mille Lacs Lake or the surrounding areas, we are partnered up with Joe from Keeper's Guide Service. Whether you want to target smallmouth, walleye, perch on Mille Lacs Lake, or if you want to target trophy panfish, walleyes, or perch off of Mille Lacs Lake, Joe can accommodate both of those situations. So if you're looking to get up to the Mille Lacs Lake area this coming weekend or in the future, go ahead and give Joe a call from Keeper's Guide Service. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's fishing report. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you to everyone who sent us pictures for this week's fishing report. If you would like your pictures to be featured in future fishing reports, go ahead, send them to us on Facebook or to our Gmail, and we will do our best to get them in the following week's report. Remember, if you guys make it out fishing, be respectful at the boat ramp, don't crowd your neighbor, and most importantly, don't forget to get on out there and get living.